Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin was the head of the Soviet Union after Lenin's death on January 21, 1924. He was originally from the Bolsheviks and was the party general secretary, whose purpose was to appoint regional and city secretaries. He used his job as a general secretary to his advantage to get full control of the Communist Party. In 1929, he did and established a dictatorship over Russia. During his time in power, he created his 5-year plan, the main goal being to transform the Soviet Union from an agricultural state to an industrial in 5 years. Also, he established collective farms because he believes in the capital's need for industrial growth, which could be gained by destroying all the private farms and limiting people onto collective farm units. Stalin created educational programs for the youth as well, for those who wished for a higher education. Many adults went to part-time school so they can become literate and go to college as well. Between the years of 1936 and 1938, he led the purging of the old Bolsheviks until there were no old Bolsheviks left. On top of this, he killed diplomats, party members, and intellectuals, basically anyone who stood in his way. He began as the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, later named the Nazi Party. He created his own militia named SA and used it for his own interests. After the failure of overthrowing the government in the Beer Hall Putsch, he wrote his Mein Kampf, My Struggle, in prison, which basically described his beliefs in anti-Semitism, anti-communism, and his German nationalism. He convinced the Chancellor of Germany into making Hitler the new Chancellor after the Nazis won 230 seats in the German Reichstag. The Nazis were supported by a middle and lower middle class rather than workers from communists and socialists, since that was not working for them. After Hitler became Chancellor, he received his own police force named the SS. After the Nazis gained 288 seats, Hitler proposed a deal with President Hindenburg, saying that when Hindenburg died, the title of president would go to Hitler, which Hindenburg agreed to. Finally, Hitler became the new dictator of Germany. He established the Gleichschaltung, which helped purge the Jews, and assisted in making Germany a totalitarian state. They controlled the economy, unemployment rates dropped with the German Labor Front. Hitler created youth programs to encourage Nazi beliefs at a young age. Hitler continued anti-Semitic policies such as the Nuremberg laws that banned marriage between a Jew and a German, effectively dividing them. Benito Mussolini. Mussolini laid the foundations for Italy as a fascist state when he began his rise by supporting middle-class industrialists. He wanted seats in the parliament in an attempt to become Italy's leader, so with the help of the squadristi, he allied himself with liberals and began violent attacks. Most fascists, including artisans, white-collar workers, and professionals. Parliament passed the Acerbo laws, which said any party that won 250 votes in the election would get two-thirds of the seats in the parliament, which the fascists won. Soon the government made Mussolini the Prime Minister of Italy, and with Mussolini as head, new laws were enacted. Now began fascist education programs for teens, which they weren't happy about. Women lost most of their freedom because Mussolini believed that a woman's primary goal was to the house and children. Mussolini didn't succeed in getting to the degree of totalitarianism that Hitler did, though he did ally himself with the Catholic Church by recognizing them with sovereign independence, which made them support him. Leon Trotsky. Leon Trotsky was a Bolshevik and during the Bolshevik Revolution designed the entire blueprint. He also led the Red Army during the Bolshevik Revolution as the Commissar of War. After the USSR was established, Trotsky led the left of the Politburo, who wanted to end the new economic policy and let the Soviet Union start to industrialize. Trotsky also wanted to let the revolution continue, and he believed the only way to maintain the revolution is to spread communism abroad. He had a rivalry with Joseph Stalin on who would become the leader of Russia. Victor Emmanuel II. He was the new King of England between 1849 and 1878. Count Camillo di Cavour was his prime minister. On March 17, 1861, Italy became a centralized government under King Victor Emmanuel and the House of Savoy. Great Depression. The Great Depression came after World War I. The free trade economy was soon taken over by trade barriers and war debts. Causes of the Great Depression include the decline of domestic economies and the collapse of the American stock market. Since they did not expect to recover from the destructions of the fields which caused production to decline. but agriculture went back to pre-war levels, and states in 1925 in Europe announced tariffs and began to use oil and hydroelectricity more. Since the U.S. invested in Germany and much of Europe's success came out of it, when the Americans started investing in the New York stock market instead of Germany's, the U.S. market collapsed, which led them to withdraw from other European countries also, which weakened the countries. Trade was slowing down and unemployment was increasing. There was a slight reversal of roles for men and women. Men often had to go employed, and women could get minor jobs as a housemaid, laundress, etc. This angered some men to join gangs. Since the government can't really do anything about this crisis, a renewed interest in Marxism came about, since Karl Marx predicted that capitalism would destroy itself through overproduction. Kristallnacht. Also called Night of Shattered Glass, it was when the Nazis started a genocide on the Jews in between November 9th and 10th. It started when a Polish Jew killed a secretary of the German embassy. The Nazis used this as an excuse to destroy Jewish property, such as synagogues. 96 Jews were killed, and more than 30,000 Jewish males were forced to go to concentration camps. Also, Hitler established rules forbidding Jews from owning or working at any retail store, and because of Kristallnacht, Jews were encouraged to move and escape Nazi Germany. Spanish Civil War. Between the Republicans and the Nationalists, it ranged from July 17, 1936 to April 1, 1939. The Republicans believed in workers' rights, a civilian army, and overall secularization. The Nationalists, on the other hand, focused on a monarchy, an agrarian economy, and the Catholic Church. The Nationalists were led by General Francisco Franco. Even though France, Germany, Italy, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union all signed a pact not to interfere in the Spanish Civil War, it was quickly broken by Germany and Italy by joining Franco's side and supporting him by sending him weapons and soldiers. The Soviet Union also broke the pact by joining the Republicans. The Soviets sent them planes and tanks. The Spanish Civil War ended when the Nationalists captured Madrid, which was the home for the Republicans. Around 400,000 died during the war, and 200,000 died following the Nationalists' victory. The Enabling Act allowed Hitler to step up to power after the Nazis received 288 seats in the Reichstag in 1933. The Enabling Act would let whichever party that won votes to pass it establish laws for 4 years, which will empower the government. As a result of this, Hitler became the new dictator after he won 2/3 of the votes to pass it, and so he did not require the assistance of President Hindenburg for what he wanted to do. New economic policy. The NEP, for short, was established by Lenin in 1921. Because of the NEP, small businesses, retail stores, and other industries could operate under private ownership. Peasants could now sell their products publicly. However, industries such as banking and mining stayed under the government's controls. Lenin announced the new USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the Soviet Union during this time. As a result of the NEP, the agriculture levels reached 75% of the pre-war levels, but only coal production reached pre-war levels. Even the government-owned industries decreased. In the end, the NEP did assist Russia from falling into a deep economic depression, but it was only temporary.
The 5 ideas. Idea number 1. Fascism. Fascism was a political movement with one totalitarian ruler and one party radically controlling all aspects of a society, usually with aspects of racism. Italy became fascist under Mussolini, who led the European fascist movement. Nazi Germany was another example of a fascist government led solely by Hitler and his Nazi party. Idea number 2, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism, though not a new idea, came to its peak in Nazi Germany. Anti-Semitism is the hatred of Jews. Hitler imprisoned, tortured, and killed about 6 million Jews with his Holocaust, and he spread anti-Semitism with propaganda throughout Germany. Idea number 3, totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is a form of government where one ruler and one party control all aspects of the society. Examples are Stalinist Russia, Mussolini's Italy, and Hitler's Germany. Modern totalitarianism originated in World War I, where strict control of economy and civilians was necessary for the victory. Control of citizens is generally achieved through propaganda, especially in Germany. Appeasement. British Prime Minister Chamberlain used the strategy of appeasement to quell Germany. Basically, whatever Germany asked for, Britain allowed, and France wouldn't object unless Britain backed them up. This went on, allowing Germany to build up their resources until Germany tried to take over Poland. this is one of the things that started World War II. Idea number 5, central planning. The Soviet economy focused on vigorous central planning, which heightened their industrialism and economy, but also led to a complicated bureaucracy, which caused a lack of efficiency and productivity. The 5 ... Number 1, the Weimar Republic. After World War I, Germany changed its government and created the Weimar Constitution, becoming the Democratic Weimar Republic. Germany was used to having a strong ruler, and this sudden burst of democracy angered many people. It didn't help that the new president and chancellor did not believe in the inefficient system either. Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf is Hitler's autobiography, written while he was imprisoned after the Beerhar pushed. In it, Hitler wrote down all of his future plans, which may seem to have been a bad idea, but apparently it seems like no other country bothered to read it. Mein Kampf basically took the place of the Bible in Germany and was used to spread propaganda. The 5-year plan. Soviet Union's Stalin launched his economic 5-year plan, bringing a modified capitalist system to communist Soviet Union in order to improve agriculture and make the Soviet Union more industrial-based. This succeeded in improving the Soviet Union economy, though it was overturned later on. Number 4, the Age of Anxiety. The Age of Anxiety was from 1914 to 1950, from World War I to the end of World War II. European countries were struggling with economic depression and a drop in population, including the lost generations of soldiers. New technology was mainly war machines, tanks, warplanes. Art became more confused, like surrealism, and war-focused, like German expressionism. And social activities were upturned as women filled the workplace during wars but were forced to leave afterwards. Number 5, Weimar Republic Part 2. The Weimar Republic allowed Germany to take control. Because of one of its specifications in the Weimar Constitution, Hitler was allowed to suspend the rights of individuals in a national emergency, like the burning of the Reichstag building. He then passed the Enabling Act, which allowed him to suspend the rights of citizens like Jews. This allowed the Holocaust to take place.